Good morning, Kitchissippi. It is Saturday, April the 27th. This is a video version of the 388th weekly ward newsletter. I'll probably put that out sometime tomorrow on Sunday. A reminder that you can sign up for the weekly newsletter at kitchissippiward.ca. Speaking of, another reminder that I am in the process of migrating the kitchissippiward.ca website to another server. I don't anticipate that I'm going to be able to easily migrate the old content. There are probably hundreds of blog posts on there to the new server. If there is information or records that you want to keep from that old website, please go ahead and download that within the next couple of weeks. I'll give everyone a 1-week warning before I turn the switch on that. I'm hosting pop-up office hours again this week. Those will be from on Thursday, May the 2nd at the Ottawa Bagel Shop and Deli. That's at 1321 Wellington Street. I'll be hosting those between 1:30 and 4:30 p.m. Come by anytime during those hours without appointment to chat with me one-on-one about whatever's on your mind. Lots of action at the Committee of Adjustment. I have details in the newsletter of the May 1st hearing, the May 15th hearing now, as well as some interesting decisions from the April 17th meeting. On May 1st, again, I've had a few reminders of this, at 266, 268 Carruthers and 177 Armstrong. The owner is seeking to subdivide the property in order to build the low-rise apartment building that was approved by council, I guess, a couple of months ago. City staff comments are now online, and they have expressed no concern. At 1756 Scott, the owner is seeking some variances associated with building a 2-story rear addition to the structure. My understanding is that they would be seeking to put in some secondary dwelling units. City staff comments are now online. They're expressing some concerns. There is currently a contiguous fabric of the rear building line along that portion of Scott. City staff are suggesting that if there wasn't as much of an encroachment into the rear yards associated with this proposal, that there would be more room for outdoor amenity space, tree planting, etc. So we'll keep our eye on that one. The details of a couple of applications for May 15th are now online. At 282 Loretta, the owner is seeking to subdivide the property into 3 parcels for the construction of 3 detached dwellings. It looks like they're looking for reduced lot width and lot area variances, increased building height, attached garages, and driveways that are facing the street. At 155 and 157 Jeffrey, the owner is seeking to subdivide to establish separate ownerships for each half of the semi-detached that is currently under construction. And at 113 Northwestern, the owner is seeking to construct a 2-story detached dwelling with a double width driveway and garage and a balcony that doesn't have opaque screening. I haven't taken a close look at the application, but I assume that that's where they're seeking the variances. Staff comments for those May 15th applications are not yet online. I'll have details of that when they are in the newsletter. And we also have some surprising decisions from the April 17th meeting. At 304 Fairmont, the proposed subdivision was granted, no surprise there. At 398, 402, and 406 Roosevelt, the application was actually refused, partly because, quote unquote, no substantial evidence in the form of a traffic impact assessment or parking demand study was presented demonstrating that the proposal would not create an unacceptable adverse impact on the neighborhood. And at 72 Armstrong, at 370 Athlone, the application was also refused. The panel found that it, quote unquote, amounts to overdevelopment of the site. At 72 Armstrong, the variances associated with turning that 3-unit into a 5-unit were, no surprise, granted. All of those decisions by the C of A are now in their appeal period. A bit of an update for you on the Parkdale ramp closures. We received note this week that that is going to be delayed, the closure of those ramps. The eastbound on-ramp is now slated to be closed from May 13th until August 25th, and the eastbound off-ramp at Parkdale is now slated to be closed from May 13th until May 28th. On the Kitchissippi parking strategy, I know I had made mention that they were seeking to set up a third information session. The details of that have now been finalized. That's going to be held from 6 to 8 on May 6th at the Westboro Masonic Hall, where the first one was held. And the information boards from the first two information sessions are now available online. For more information, please see my newsletter. There has been a study of Broadview Avenue that has been undertaken for, I want to say, a couple of years now, that is taking a look at traffic calming measures for this very busy stretch of road. I'm next to Notre Dame High School, of course, Nepean and Broadview just down the street from me. The design for that traffic calming has now been finalized following what I think was a fairly uncontentious open house a couple of months ago. You can take a look at the final designs on the Engage Ottawa website. I have a link in my newsletter. They're hoping to be able to commence construction on those traffic calming measures in 2025. I'm being cautioned that there is a chance that might slip into the next construction season, depending how that gets bundled with other road projects across the city. And again, I will continue reminding folks until it's actually held on June 1st. The Kitchissippi Community Yard Sale is coming up, and it will come up fast. Right across the ward, residents are invited to host their own garage sale or yard sale on June 1st. If you are participating, shoot me a note at jeff.leeper@ottawa.ca, and I will add you to the evergreen Google map that I am putting online so that visitors can find all the participating household locations. And then I think this will be my final reminder with respect to the Dover Court and Clare rebuilds. That's Dover Court, that's from Dover Court from Churchill to Tweedsmuir, and Clare from Hilson to Churchill. The first designs for those rebuilds are going to be shown at an open house that's on May 1st, just down at Dover Court Rec. I've got the details of that open house again in my newsletter. I look forward to the usual productive back and forth once you've had a chance to see those designs. Send me your feedback, and there's always a bit of wriggle room on those with respect to some give and take on the designs. A number of community events that I wanted to highlight. There is a showing, I believe right here at Notre Dame, of 1200 Plus. That is a film that has been made by Grand Chief Sheila North in fulfillment of a promise that she made when she was gifted the diary of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls victim Charisse Houle. So that film is showing here on May the 3rd from 7 until 9. I've got details about how you can contact the organizer, Pamela Neymark, to register for that showing. The Parkdale Food Center is seeking a treasurer on their volunteer board of directors. This is an exciting opportunity to be part of a dynamic group of people who are helping to guide and shape the work of a growing and impactful nonprofit that is dedicated to improving the lives of underserved community members. So the Parkdale Food Center Board of Directors seeking a volunteer treasurer. If that is a skill set that you have, this is a great way to do service in your community. I've got details about how to look at that in the newsletter. And then another quick note that the Connaught Plant School Plant fundraiser is still on. The orders for that have to be placed by Wednesday, May 1st. I've got details in the newsletter about how you can get your hanging baskets and other plants for fundraising for Connaught Public School. At City Hall, a couple fewer meetings coming up than I had in my last meeting. I'll just re-mention that the Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee and Planning and Housing Committee are meeting on Monday. We're going to receive a draft of the comprehensive zoning bylaw. This is an extraordinarily important bylaw. We're not going to modify it on Monday. We'll simply receive it ahead of about a year and a half of consultations before we vote on that in December of 2025. But there's a really significant upzoning of the city that is foreseen. There's the proposal to eliminate parking minimums. There's a number of measures to deal with trees, a bit more commercial in local areas. all the zoning that implements the higher level principles of our new official plan. So we'll have lots more to talk about that over the course of the next 18 months or so. And City Council is going to meet on May 1st. We've actually got a fairly light agenda. I expect most of the items will be approved as coming out of recommendations from our various committees. I expect that there is any discussion, it will be around Councillor Troster's anti-rent evictions bylaw. The Planning and Housing Committee passed that unanimously at our meeting last week, and I expect that it will pass at City Council, maybe with a couple of more dissents, but that motion would send staff off to study creating an anti-rent eviction bylaw. So it's an issue here in our ward, it's an issue right across the city. Unfortunately, provincial protections are not strong enough to protect people, and it falls to the municipality to create an additional layer of protection for renters, particularly in gentrifying neighborhoods like ours. The Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee is going to meet on Thursday, May the 2nd. They've got a brief amendment that includes a zoning amendment at the corner of Boundary Road and Thunder Road to permit a truck transport terminal and warehouse. I might not normally call that particular zoning application out, but it is on Thunder Road, and I will mention that every single time. I've got a link to the full agenda documents, of course, in my newsletter. And a really interesting meeting coming up with the Finance and Corporate Services Committee on Tuesday, May the 7th. There are going to be, I think, two headline items in that meeting. The first of them is a proposal to move the enforcement of parking and camera enforcement rules into an administrative monetary penalty system versus the Provincial Offences Act system that we currently have. Jurisdictions right across Ontario have taken advantage of powers provided by the province to, I guess, arbitrate or oversee dispute resolution in those parking offences, camera offence disputes. Take some pressure off of the court system. Satisfaction by residents reported in municipalities that have done this has been fairly high. The promises of a more efficient, faster system. So that should probably engender some discussion at the meeting. And then we are also receiving a lot of notes about a proposal to give for nominal consideration a parcel of land at 250 Forest Glen in Greenborough to the Ottawa Aboriginal Coalition, who are proposing to put a 30-bed supportive housing development there that would serve particularly Inuit women who are victims of violence. I'm highly supportive. At the corner on Princeton, you have Cornerstones Housing for Women, which has been, I think, overwhelmingly a positive contribution into our neighborhood. Residents who live in Greenborough are less comfortable than Westboro residents were when that was first proposed for our neighborhood. I, of course, have no intention of trying to vote to slow down or delay the transfer of land. The land development process by not-for-profits takes far too long in this city as it is, and I am keen to see that the city get that property into the OAC's hands and then begin the site plan and zoning approvals so that we can get some shovels in the ground, get those doors open as quickly as possible. And in addition to those meetings, there will also be a meeting of the Ottawa Public Library Board on May the 2nd. Kitchissippi, that's this week's newsletter. If you're watching it if you're watching this weekend, I hope you're having a great weekend. And if you don't see this until later Sunday or Monday, I hope you had a great weekend. Some sunshine, some warm temperatures. Spring is sprung. Have a great week, Kitchissippi. Thanks for watching.